Hello everyone. This is TJ with TJ's Automation and Control Videos. Today I have a Micrologix 1000 that I want to show you. This particular Micrologix 1000 is a digital PLC, 24 volts. It has 4 outputs as we see in front of us. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. And it has 6 inputs. I1, I2, I3 are all hardwired. I4 and I5 or not. They are for expansions to the programs or expansions as projects or whatever you may have. This particular PLC has indication lights on it for power, run, fault, and force. Whenever an output or an input is high, you will see the indication. As right now you see it in input 0. You see the 0 highlighted. That means that 0 is high right now. And same goes when the outputs, whenever they make that status. I'm also connected to a trainer, and this trainer has 4 outputs with lights on it. It has 4 inputs, 2 push buttons, and 2 toggle switches. I will plan to reference back and forth through the video to show you what is happening in real time with the logic, with the lights, with the inputs, with the PLC, and we will be using Micrologix 500 to program, and we will be doing our communication through RS Links Classic. Well, right now what I want to do is show you how to get some communication set up. I'm going to go through it briefly. So first of all, what we need to do when we get ready to set up communication, we need to go to Device Manager and figure out what port is actually being used. The port is very important because it's what allows everything to happen in this serial connection. You see that USB serial 340 COM5 is where we are using our information of where we are connected. USB into the computer, serial into the PLC, and COM5 for the driver to link back to the PLC. Okay. What you would do after you know that you have COM5 set up, you would go to Configure Drivers in RS Links Classics. Go here, and I have it set up right now, so I'm just going to leave it running, but I will step you through the steps of how to get there. You would go to the drop-down menu, add available driver types. Hit the drop down, go to RS-232 DF1 devices. RS-232 meaning the serial connection that you got, DF1 for the driver that you need. You would select it. You would hit add new. Then it says DF12. You would select it. you had said it's at 5. So you would go to COM5. Let's see, COM5. You would go to, in devices, you would go to micro. You would go to baud rate of 9600, and you would hit auto config. The reason why I'm not going to do that right now is because I already have a driver set up in COM5. Whenever you did that, it would say successful. Configuration successful. Then it would be set up. You would hit OK, and you would see this connection like I have right here. COM5 DF124, because that's what I selected, and you see it running here. Then that would be the end of that, and you could verify it by going back to RSLinks Classic, clicking on RSWho, and open up the window right here to look at the communication, and you would see Micrologix 1000 under the DF1, and there's the PLC that is communicating with. Now let's get into some more with the instructions. Right now I have a counter set up, counter system set up, counter program, and it has a preset. It is count up. It is a count up counter, and it has a preset of 6. So 6 times it will count up, and then this output 0 will be activated. As right now you see that output is not activated. So let's do that. I will break and make the connection between this input I0/0, because that is where the logic is coming off of to activate the counter, and then it is coming off a done bit of the count up counter, and when it energizes, it will energize the output. So let's go to the logic, and I will show you what I mean. Okay, here's the first one. Make break. There's count 1 we've done for the logic. You see the cumulative rise. Let's do it 5 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you see the output energize. Same as with the trainer, you see the output energize. So that is a quick lesson in using count up counters, or counters in general. That's just the one that I choose for us to use today. I thought that it would be a good chance to demonstrate count up counters. Now I want to bounce right over to let's see, what do I want to do? I want to run a different program. Is what I like to do. I'd like to go up. Let's see, I have another program right now that I would like to run, and this particular program, it is one that has more instructions written into it, and I'm just kind of browsing right now, looking for it. But it has more instructions written to it, so I would like to I would like to go up to, let's see, let me get 1 second to think here. Let's see. I would like to download the information to this PLC. Downloading the information from program to program, writing the data into the PLC is the way that you get your programs active to use. Okay, and that was a brief description of downloading the program, and let's look at some more instructions. So, the instructions, I want to go back to the trainers. Got a lot of trainer stuff into this particular part, working with timers, and it's a lot of timers and outputs and inputs in here, so gives you a chance to see more, and plus there's a few more things I want to do. First of all, looking at the logic, the way this logic is written, it is input 0/0, and if it is true, because that examine if closed, if it is true, and input 0/1, examine if open instruction, if it is true, then we energize output 0/0. Well, whenever that is activated, that output, then on the next scan it will have a ceiling over the input 0/0, so it can biroute it and go straight to the next instruction and keep this output active. It happens in like microseconds, so it's a ceiling is what it is. The 0/0 instruction and the examine if closed, and it's wrote in there to keep the output energized, but that's just one form of writing it. But let's look at it as the process goes. Okay, we will break all logic to make this happen. Okay, there we go with the input I/0, nothing energized. Boom, boom. There is input 0/0 made, and it's like will be for a push button that's momentarily. We have energy come through the output, and then it is sealed in. If we look over here at the timer is coming off that same output, and after 5 seconds, it's the preset of 5 seconds, then the cumulative hits 5 seconds, the done bit is energized, and then we can use it in this other rung to activate output 0/1. And let's watch this 5 seconds. I will break the connection to make sure you get a chance to see the 5-second timer run. Okay, you see the cumulative 1 to 0, and let's watch it count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we see the done bit was energized. Okay, so let's complete the logic there and activate the other output. And here's the push button, same logic source setup, just a little bit another instruction added to the rung. All right, and there the output 1/0/1 is activated, and some of the same process for output 0/2. And that is the instructions for the timers and the instruction. I just wanted to point that out a little bit. One thing I do want to look at, is the data table. Okay, first off, I want to put a force on here just for training purposes, just to let you see the force on input. Input I0/0. Let's place a force on this and then look at the data table. Okay, force is on. As you can see, in the data table on that input, you see a 1 and you see input forces. So there's the 1. So you see that there is a force put in place, and we can remove that force. This is only for training, and I'm just showing you what happens whenever you put a force on and remove a force off. Forces should only be generated and put on if you know exactly what's going on. A lot of times people have a jumper authorization sheet to fill out for a jumper, and a lot of times that authorization sheet is because people forget. I mean, you can't always just leave a jumper on. It's not necessarily designed for it. All the safeties and everything has been put in place, so that is to help with remembering to take it off. Believe me, I've seen it. So that is forcing an object on. But like I say, that's not something to actually do out in the field. Maybe training in a trainer, you might be able just to get familiar with the procedure of how to do it, but don't do it just out of curiosity. Go through the channels to do any forces. Same way as toggling a bit. You swapping states just like we saw a minute ago, 1 and 0. Don't go toggling a bit unless you are for sure that is what has to happen. Things happen with PLCs in microseconds, I believe it is. So that is a very fast time in there for anything to happen. So don't, just make sure that's what has to happen when you do it. And let's look at the data sheet for this input. Right now it's not active, nothing's on. I removed the force, but we are going to look at the data sheet to look at this input and maybe even an output, just so you can have a chance to look at the data table. Okay, so that input I0/0, you see there is a 0 right there. Well, not anymore. We're going to put a 1 right there. So that is what happens when you have force in your digital. You see your 1s and 0s as things are happening in the real world. Let's see if you see that. 1, 0, you see the 1, you see the energy in that first rung as going back and forth, swapping the 2, and so that is and we can look at the outputs, and you see there's the output data table also. So you can look at either one, but I just wanted to be brief about everything. I have a few more videos that I want to release. Oh, and one thing I do want you to see is as all those lights were lit up in the process of the logic, you see 0/0 lit up, you see 0 in the trainer, you see 0/1 in the logic, you see 0/1 lit up on the trainer. They were all in sync. You see 0/2 in the logic lit up, you see 0/2 as an output lit up, all in sync as everything is happening. This is real time, real world. In the output, you see 0/3 lit up, you see 0/3 lit up on the trainer. So like I say, I have more videos with drives and HMIs and SCADAs and all types of different things on a few more of the PLCs, but I just wanted to bring this cool Micrologix 1000 PLC to the screen from my point of view and show it to the world. Thanks for having me. Appreciate your time. If you like the video, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. This is TJ with TJ's Automation Videos. Bye.